Welcome to another episode of the Str Sisterhood. I'm your host, Stacy St. And as always, I just want to thank you for spending some time with me today. Now, before we dive into this episode, I want to share a quote that I recently read that resonated with me. And it says, "Life is worth living as long as there's a laugh in it." And those amazing words come from L.M. Montgomery, the author best known for Anne of Green Gables. All right, my friends, in this episode, we are talking all about launching your short-term rental property. And as we all know, if you've been through it, it can be a pretty painful process. Well, today I'm sitting down with the founder of Launched Host, the one and only Kim Fitzpatrick, and we are talking through strategies and tactics so that you can make your launch as efficient as possible. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into my conversation with Kim. So today we are here with Kim Fitzpatrick from the Launched Host, and OMG, I have so many questions to ask you, but first of all, thanks so much for being here.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to be able to chat with you about this stuff.
Oh my goodness. So Kim, let me ask you before we dive in, where do you live in the world? And what exactly does the Launched Host do?
Well, that first question is maybe more difficult to answer than you would think. Technically, currently, my home is in Portland, Oregon. However, my home is also a short-term rental. And that should be no surprise to anyone that knows me because I travel so much. My two sons are now technically adults, we all know how that goes, and are not living at home full time. So I may make my new primary residence one of my other short-term rentals, at least for the next 6 months, just to taxes. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Don't make me try to explain it. I know it, but I don't know that I can teach it.
There you go.
Anyway, so potentially Florida very soon.
Wow, that's fun. That's so fun. I would love to have a reason to move to Florida. That doesn't sound bad at all.
Right? I kind of fancy the beach instead of the rain from Portland in the winter.
Amen, sister. Amen. Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about Launched Host. So you have short-term rentals. By the way, how many short-term rentals do you have in your portfolio?
Currently, I own 3 short-term rentals. I have bought and sold over the years, but yes, 3 that I love right now.
And so how did you decide to start Launched Host to begin with?
It's interesting. I was just doing it as like when I would buy a property, I honestly, the 7-day install was just based on my parenting plan. So my kids would go to their dads for 7 days and I would launch myself into the property and get it all ready every time we would buy a new property. And then I would come home and be their mom again when they came back to my house. So I did it out of necessity every time I bought a property. And then my friends were like, "Oh my gosh, you're so good at this. Will you help me? Will you help me? Will you help me?" And so I would say that I don't know that I decided, but it sort of chose me just as much as I chose it.
That's fun. I mean, that's a great problem to have, shall we say, because you can really carve a niche for yourself when you're solving a problem for people, right?
Exactly.
And so I think a lot of people, perhaps if they don't know you as well as we know each other, might think that you're a designer. So talk to us a little bit about your service with Launched Host and like dispel the myth for everyone. Is Kim a designer or not?
I'm definitely not a designer. I'm so glad you said that because I think in all of the videos I post, it appears it's hard to separate the design from what we do. So I work in conjunction with quite a few really fantastic designers. And every time somebody gives me credit for the design, I cringe a little and I hope that the designers understand and I try to give them credit. But yes, I am not a designer, but my team at Launched Host goes into properties for the designer and for the owner. And we do all of the heavy lifting, all of the like physical labor that it takes to get a property from empty to guest ready. So we are the workforce that makes this all happen.
I love that. And, I think it's so cool because you really not only are supporting the property owners, so they are not having to set everything up themselves, but you're also freeing up the designers as well so that, that weight is off of their shoulders and they're able to operate in their genius zone. Talk to me a little bit about that working in conjunction with the designer. Can you walk us through a little bit about what happens behind the scenes and when you should start working with the designer?
Yeah. So I suggest for the homeowners that when they get to when they're looking to purchase a property, when they're at that like clear to close stage, that's when you really need to start onboarding your designer. Decide who they're going to be, figure out how much it's going to cost, what needs to happen. Because in general, the designers I work with take a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks. And that's if they are not already booked with multiple clients. And so knowing that it's going to take them a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks. And if you feel like you're confident that your property will close, then I would say don't wait until it does close. Know that when you're clear to close, because often, even if that property didn't close, you're still on the hunt. And if it's not that one, it's going to be another one. So you can get the designer, you can start that relationship. And then whether it be this property or one that you're going to buy just so soon after, you've started that ball rolling, and that saves you some time, which of course we all know time is money, and it's super valuable. So yeah, clear to close is when I recommend.
Okay. And then when they have the designer in place, are you working with the designer from the start? Talk to us a little bit about that process.
If it's a designer I know, and I have like a plethora in my portfolio that we've worked with, we like to get in on the ground floor and get an idea. But if the client has picked a designer, has the design plan, and then finds us, let's see, I say that the designers work, let's see, how do I say this? I do say it, I promise. Our work starts when the designer is done. Essentially, we are the manpower behind it. So when you give me the plan, which we like to call the Lego kit, when we have the Lego kit from the designer, we just build and we execute. So we can jump on as soon as that design plan is done. Now, obviously, we have to make room in our schedule. We like at least 3 to 4 weeks notice so that I can gather the appropriate team for the project. And knowing the design plan helps me know what people are best suited for the type of work we're going to be doing. So yeah, we like 3 to 4 weeks. And but yeah, once we get the Lego kit from the designer, which is the mood boards and the inventory list and all of the furniture layouts, then we can run with it. And then we can honestly just check in with the homeowner, and we'll do all of our communication with the designer. Is this exactly where you want it? Do you want it 2 inches to the left? Is this what it was supposed to look like? We're just clarifying. And so we have a lot of communication back and forth constantly for those 7 days with the designer, that the owner will just be able to go, oh, no, it's beautiful. It's just how it's supposed to look. And they don't need to know if that art needs to be adjusted in any way.
Right. Exactly. And so I want to ask you a little bit about how it's possible that you can do a launch in 7 days, because I know for me personally, I feel like I've staged enough beach condos that I could probably do it in my sleep. And I think my record is 3 days where I've done it. Okay. But it's after doing it over and over and over and over and over again. Right. For someone who maybe this is their first property or second or fifth, I mean, who knows? Doing it in a short amount of time frame not only feels impossible, but it also feels super stressful. right? So talk to us a little bit about, how it is that you can do something within a 7-day time frame.
Right. Yes. We usually focus on 4-bedroom homes or greater, up to, I think the highest was, I don't know, 12, 18. I lost count of the bedrooms at one point. But we usually focus on larger properties because we do believe that you can set it up when in smaller, like a smaller condo, on your own. But the greater the property, the greater the volume of work and the scope that's involved with that. So how we do it, oh gosh, I don't even know where to begin. But first of all, I would love to ask you a question. This one gets people, and so it's really fun for me.
Okay.
How many items do you think it takes to go from empty to guest ready on a 4-bedroom single family home?
Oh gosh. Let's see. I just staged one. So
all of it, everything, empty to guest.
Everything, soup to nuts.
Yep.
I am going to say, now I don't know this. I'm totally going to go with 20,000.
Not bad. Not
Okay,
bad.
how'd I do? Let me just scoop.
Not close. It's actually 100,000 items is the average. When you talk about all of the towels, all of the sheets, all of the kitchen,
right? All the things,
all the
things. Forks, all the knives, all the spoons. Yes.
Right. And people are like, well, that it kind of counts as one. Okay, but we wash every single towel,
right.
Every single sheet, every single dish before we put it away. So we are handling 100,000 items.
Right.
So, and based on the designer, that could be from 100,000 to even 400,000. But that's just like so mind blowing that I stay on the low side.
And so, I know you mentioned you like to start working with the designer as early as possible so that, feel like you're in the loop, what's going on. Your work really starts when the designer is done with their work. But I want to talk about, I guess, the pre-planning portion, because I do feel like now, for me personally, that is what helps so that I can furnish a property in a short amount of time. It's all the pre-planning work. So would you agree that that is one of the most important pieces to the puzzle?
Yes, I would. And I would also say, yes, we have done all of that pre-planning work, and now we just plug in what we need, who we need, where we need them. And so, yeah, I didn't even think about it because it becomes so automated that we know the number of hours, like human work hours it takes to get these things launched for the size of the property. So then I just need to figure out, okay, this is the number of hours. These are the people. Do I have enough people? And then we have a whole list, like our order of operations. Like if you're a math teacher, which I am not, I was a PE teacher, so I like the chaos, but I understand the math. And so we have to have a certain order of operations to be as efficient as we are. And I'll give one key thing, and that is if you are doing a bedroom, let's say, you've got to put the rug down before you start building the king bed. Because once you build that whole king bed frame and you put that mattress on top, potentially a box springs as well, it's heavy.
Right.
But if you are in an empty room and you roll the rug out, it takes 5-10 minutes to like undo all of the stuff, kick it out and set it in place. Then if you assemble your bed frame and put your mattress on top of your rug, that rug took one person 10 minutes. Now, if we forgot to put the rug down and we've assembled the bed, now we need at least 2 people to lift the bed and at least 1 person to crawl under and shove. And now it's taking 3 people approximately half an hour to do the same job as it took 1 person 10 minutes. Yeah. So we have identified some efficiencies and we have a plan. And I give all of my teams the plan and I say, here's the order of operations. Let's make sure we do it right. Otherwise, we get to stay up really late at night correcting our mistakes. So yeah, that's one of the ways that we...
that story makes me think about I was just actually restaging a property for one of my property management clients at the beach. And she had a beautiful couch, but we needed to replace the area rug in the family room. And it was my husband and I. And you should have seen me trying to have him lift up the couch and I'm underneath, pushing.
And then you have to step back and you have to describe
it needs to go over
more.
2 inches. Yeah.
And there's legs in weird spots that anchor that rug down.
Yes.
So you got to lift it in multiple. Yeah. We've been there. We know.
I know you have.
Right.
So I want to ask you too about, if you don't mind sharing with us some of the horror stories or some of the biggest challenges that you've had, because I do want anyone listening to know that even though, you do this day in, day out, there's still hiccups that are going to happen. And whether you're staging and furnishing and launching a property yourself, or if you have help, you have to know that there are going to be hiccups and, we have to think creatively and outside the box sometimes. So Kim, talk to us about maybe one of the biggest challenges you've had along the way.
Oh boy. There's so many. Literally every job that we have ever done has had an unexpected challenge. So much so that we time block for whatever the unknown challenge that is going to show up. Mm-hmm. We're just like, we don't know what it is. We don't know when it's going to show up, but we're going to make sure that we have time set aside that's not dedicated to anything. So when the challenge arrives, we go, oh, you're here.
Yes.
Welcome in. We have a spot for you. And then we just manage it. Like, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, we can't do this. This is chaos. I can think of one property where they were supposed to be done renovating. Okay. I can think of so many where they were supposed to be done renovating, and we're working with the contractors trying to put the decor in, and the contractors. I think of one where the sink wasn't in place. So we had no kitchen sink, which means we didn't have water, which meant we couldn't wash all of the dishes. So how are we going to deal with this? Well, luckily we found a property nearby that wasn't hosting any guests. So between guests, we took all of the dishes over to that property, washed the dishes there, and brought them back. And us personally, we were using one of the 2 bathrooms, sinks to wash anything by hand that we needed to wash, like from our personal just eating and being on site. Wow. And it took forever because once the sink went in, the faucet didn't fit. And so they had to replace the faucet. And it was just like, I think on the last day, the sink finally went in.
My goodness.
Yeah. I can think of another where it was a plumbing issue and the plumbing was backed up, and they ended up digging through. This was a huge property, very luxurious, glamorous, fancy in Kentucky. And they ended up having to pull up all of the flooring in the basement, and they were digging tunnels in the cement to relay pipe in the whole basement. And we were like, how are we going to get this done in our 7 days? And we just had to build everything upstairs because the concrete dust was so bad. And then on the very last day, we wallpapered a 16-foot wall with a mural, and we hung a TV on a concrete wall, and we assembled the entire project in one day.
Wow.
Boy, yeah, those are some tough ones.
Now, I want to ask you, in those type of situations, of course, they're unexpected and stressful. How do you deal with the stress?
Humor. Probably we are just, we try to laugh it off. We try to come up with a plan. I work really hard, not only to manage the teams, like physical, where they're at, but also mental, emotional. So anytime I start to see us like maybe crack, like we start to see frustration, I try to either bring somebody else in, like somebody's building an arcade game. Those are traditionally arcade games, and dresser drawers are very difficult. And so if somebody is struggling with a piece of that, then I'll bring in somebody else and say, hey, let's just put a new set of eyes on this. Let's just have you look at it. Or, you know what? I could use your help over here building something simple or washing some laundry and folding towels, right? And so we redirect the energy. Sometimes that just helps us to kind of clarify. It's amazing how many problems I can solve while I'm like mopping a floor because I'm doing something and my brain is still piecing together like how to solve that thing over there. But yes, we bring in help and we just manage and we monitor our physical energy levels, our mental, emotional, and just try to keep everybody on the up and up because we don't have a lot of time to have massive breakdowns. And we do, occasionally we do have a breakdown.
I was going to say, do you need to have a time block for a breakdown at any certain lunch?
Even I have broken down. I once made a huge error on a property for a designer that I absolutely adore. And when I made this error and I couldn't fix it, and it was all me, it was like I'd take full responsibility. I was like, I'm going to need to go outside for a minute because I don't want the whole team to see me just lose it. But what I did notice from that was the whole team, when I came back inside, were like, are we okay? Like, oh my gosh, if our leader breaks down, what do the rest of us do? And so I saw that and I recognized how important it is to like stay even keel and just stay positive. And the one nice thing was they saw me mess up and they were like, oh my gosh, okay, so if we mess up, it's not the end of the world.
No, but I think that's a really, really important topic to dig into a little bit because oftentimes, as short-term rental owners or hosts, we are working with other people. It may not be that you're at a spot where you have a team that works for you regularly, but you have cleaners, you have maintenance people, you have guests. And so I think maintaining a level of professionalism and calm isn't always easy to do in stressful situations. But I think what you just pointed out, Kim, is, when you're leading a team of people, making sure that you're leading with care and you're sensitive to their emotions, to what they're experiencing. And we're all human. We all have times where we're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what is going on, but I can't handle this right now. But I love the advice that you gave, that you stepped outside. Because number one, I think when you are in a stressful situation, trying to change your space or just change up, get out, do 10 jumping jacks, like do something to get out of the space that you're in and change it up. Even if you're sitting at home at your desk and you're feeling overwhelmed, get up, walk outside for a few minutes, just rekindle some different energy, I think is really important. But then also, being someone that can walk in and have your team understand, okay, she made a mistake and now it helps me feel a little bit better because I know she isn't perfect. So I think being willing to be vulnerable, there's balance, but being vulnerable enough to share with your team, like, hey, we all make mistakes. Even I make mistakes, and here's what I learned from it, and here's how we're going to move forward. Like providing that leadership is so important, regardless of who you're working with, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it was amazing to me. At first, everyone was stressed because I was stressed, and then they were relieved. And then we just joked about it. And it's like, well, at least I didn't put the wrong wallpaper on the wrong wall, because that's what I had done. I had put the wallpaper on the wrong wall. And you can't fix that. You don't have enough. You don't have more. You can't, the windows were different. There's nothing we could do. And luckily, just showing that vulnerability and being honest about it, there was definitely, we thought of everything. I think if we hadn't told the homeowner that we had messed up, they wouldn't even have noticed because it ended up being so beautiful. But I never want to not be honest. It's way more stressful to try to like cover it up and mask it than just be like, well, that's happened.
Right.
And so, yeah, we deal with enough stress. We don't need to add to our plates.
Amen, sister. Honesty is always the best policy.
Right.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. I also want to talk with you a little bit about storage, because this is something when we think about 100,000 pieces, oh my gosh, it takes up space. And so often what happens, is people are staging or launching a property hundreds of miles away, and they're thinking, what on earth do I do with all of these things? Because I need to have them shipped. So talk with me a little bit about what you see in the marketplace working well for people, and give us any tips when it comes to storage of items.
Well, I'll tell you a horror story. Every time I hear it, it just makes me go, oh gosh, you don't know what you're embarking on. So this is a cautionary tale. A lot of times when I am on a call with a potential client, they will say they don't want to use our receiving services, which is fine, as long as they have a plan. And I ask them what their plan is to get all of the items to the property. And sometimes they'll say, oh, I'm just going to deliver it to my house and we'll put it in the back of the truck and we'll send it off. And I'm like, oh gosh. So they have often between like maybe a 30-minute or a 3-hour drive. And they're thinking, oh, that's no big deal. We can do that a couple of times. And I'm like, oh gosh, it's going to be more than a couple times. And so many hours. It's so heavy. It's a lot. And, so that always makes me real hesitant, because the amount of labor and work and all of that goes into shipping into your regular house and then driving it out to your property. When we walk in to properties with all of the boxes, it's usually a 2-car garage stacked wall to wall, floor to ceiling, and then some that has spilled over to the inside of the house. It's a massive amount of boxes. So when I think of people throwing it in the back of the truck or renting a trailer, I'm just like, oh, okay, I hope that works for you. So what we like to do is we like to have what we call a property caretaker on scene on the property that comes out 2 weeks in advance. And then all of the stuff can get shipped directly to the property. It saves wear and tear on things getting potentially damaged as they go from one property to a vehicle to another property, or a storage unit to a rental moving truck to the property. We can also inventory as it comes in. So every time 15 boxes or 27 boxes gets delivered, we're checking off and we're making sure. And we're looking at the outside of the box. And if the outside of the box has like been scratched and damaged somehow, we then investigate further to make sure the inside of the box is not broken, and we can start the return process if we need. I can tell you every single job, at least something key has come broken, and at least something has come in the wrong color. Even though the box is perfectly fine, we're looking and it says it needs to be white. And we look at the mood board and it's supposed to be white. We open the box, it's black. It doesn't, it could even say on the outside of the box that it's white, and then inside it's black. Something goes wrong. So having somebody on site to pre-investigate and to check off all that inventory, when something hasn't been delivered, you're like, where are all those things? And we can kind of pre-plan that and keep the timeline moving. I will tell you, when you order on, say, Amazon Prime Day has just happened. And I know literally everybody I know has ordered something during Prime Day. And with Amazon, you don't know if it's coming UPS, FedEx, or USPS. And I will tell you, if you don't have a mailbox in front of your property marked correctly for your address, and like you've jumped through all the USPS hoops, they'll be like, we can't find the house. And I'm like, why? Because there's no mailbox? I have opinions about that. You're delivering a dresser. It's not going in the mailbox. I don't know why you need a mailbox. We have house numbers. We have everything. But USPS requires certain things, and they make delivery difficult in vacation areas. So there's a lot of things that we do as a receiving team to get the things directly to the home. that just help mitigate any emergencies. And when we work with designers, they understand those things. So when a homeowner allows the designer to do the ordering and then we do the receiving, the homeowner can breathe easily and they don't have to check off every order, every 100,000 items. They can just work on their listing, work on their pricing, work on their automated messaging and all of that. Because that's still a whole full-time job.
It's a whole thing in and of itself. Absolutely.
Right. So we encourage them to do all of that while we take care of all of the logistics, because the logistics are really just a lot. So
talk to us a little bit about when someone does receive something that is the wrong color, right? How do you handle those situations? Because oftentimes these things are being shipped from across the country. And oftentimes you're probably working in remote locations. So talk to us a little bit about your best practices for how to tackle a situation like that.
It's so that is very manual. We don't have any of that automated because we are coast to coast. We don't. It's all dependent. Like when we are in a place where we can go to Whole Foods and make that return, and it takes 30 seconds because that is my favorite place to return anything. That's easy. When we're working with Wayfair, oftentimes they won't make you return the pool table with the damaged corner. And I can't tell you how many times those heavy games end up with a damaged corner, because I think those delivery guys don't care about your pool table as much as you do, and they dump it on a corner. And I also feel bad for them too, because it's one guy in a dolly trying to get a pool table. Like, it's a lot. So they won't always make us return them to the post office. But I don't know. Sometimes it's easy when there's a Whole Foods nearby. Other times when we were in Maine, we had to drive an hour and a half to make returns. And they still, after loading the car with returns, they still wouldn't let us personally do the return. It becomes difficult. If Wayfair doesn't make us send the thing back, oftentimes we gift it to our local handyman and our local crew that is helping us. And of course, they're elated that they just got a new foosball table or...
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And so let's talk about that. What are some of the retailers that you feel like have been easiest for you to return things? Is it an Amazon or a Wayfair? And then what retailers have you found it to be more challenging to return things? We don't guarantee that we will do returns for people. So I want to be clear about that because of how difficult it can be. If it's something that's simple, we always try. We always try for clients. And it's usually not that many things. Sometimes we end up having to put it in the owner's closet or the storage closet for somebody else to deal with later. So to be transparent about that. Returns, it's often just based on location, like where we are in the world and where we can access a return point. But I will say there is, I hate to throw Target under the bus. They have beautiful things, but with it in the case of Target, what we like to do is we like to have you order it online and let us go pick it up in the store for you. Because we find that when they ship it from the store, they'll grab a lamp off the shelf. I'm not kidding you. I've seen this 3 times. So and that's of the jobs I've personally been at. And we do so many jobs that I don't go to. They'll grab a lamp off the shelf, throw it in a cardboard box twice the size, tape it up and send it. And that thing gets jostled around, and almost every Target lamp that we have ever had shipped to the house has come with a damaged lampshade. So please, let us pick it up at the local Target. We will put it carefully into the vehicle and we will drive it home and we will keep it safe. But try not to order anything from Target and have it shipped. Their packaging is terrible. So I just want to gift people with that information to save them a headache. Right? There you go. Target, come on now.
Get it together. Pack it a little nicer. Get some bubble wrap.
I do love shopping online at Target because it saves me money. Because when I walk into Target, I'm like, ooh, now that's cute. I might need that too. Ooh, I might need that over there too. So it does help me be more budget conscious, right? Do you ever find that too? Like when you shop online for your groceries, you spend less?
Oh yeah, I am almost 100% online shopper at this point for literally everything, especially groceries, because I go all over the place. And so that's what we do. Honestly, we will online shop for groceries and get them delivered to the house whenever possible when we're on these trips, because that's another time suck where you're wandering around a grocery store you've never been to. You don't know what aisle the things are on or the type of, like, they just don't have your stuff. So I will online grocery shop in the airport and then either have to pick it up outside the store or get it delivered to the house. So that's a time sucker.
So fun. So I want to ask you, if someone is listening to this and they are getting ready to launch a property and they're doing it themselves, what words of wisdom would you have for them?
So let me give you a key factor for us, and that is the amount of time it takes. And that is, so for our team, we plan 250 hours of work for a 4-bedroom house. So if you can extrapolate from that and figure out how big your property is and how much time you're intending to do, I talked with a client who was going to do it by himself. And I said, well, let me give you some numbers before you decide if you want to do it by yourself or if you want to hire us. And he goes, oh my gosh, at your rate of speed that you guys work at, it's going to take me 3 weeks of 17-hour days with no days off. And I said, imagine your productivity at week 3 going on 17 hours. And the thing is, with one person, you're way less efficient than with 2 or 3 because, 2 people can be lifting and then somebody else can lift and you're not all lifting all the heavy stuff. And when you balance that physical exertion, you can just do more. So I recommend really diving into that 250 hour situation and for a 4-bedroom home. And if yours is bigger, obviously you scale up. And then if you're less experienced at building things, it takes us, like some of our people can do an arcade game in an hour. The first time you build an arcade game, it's probably closer to 3 hours. So you really need to add some padding into that. And if you're inviting your friends, they're going to want to go on vacation because no matter what they say, they're there to vacation and see what's around. And when our team comes, we're in the house and we're outside building like the 16 Adirondack chairs.
Right.
We're not always going to the beach and living in the lap of luxury. It is work. Your friends don't understand that. Your children don't understand that. And if you push everyone too hard, it's a relational situation you don't want to be in. So make sure that you pad your time to have some fun when you're bringing your family and friends.
Yes, that's such great advice. It's funny. Years ago, we were down in Myrtle Beach, and I always share that we peer pressured our best friends into buying real estate with us. Like they're our neighbors. And they were setting up one of their condos, and their daughter had come down, who was in college at the time, and she had come down expecting to go on vacation, and mom and dad had a different idea for her. And by the time she left the beach, she was so ticked off because she had been working the whole time. So I think that's a really good call out. If your, property is in a location where people might like to enjoy it and experience it, you may think twice about putting them to work the whole time.
And I say that because I have made that mistake. I have 2 grown boys who are very capable of helping. And so a lot of people see them, like when I post about them online, and they're like, oh, do your kids help you with the business? They're like, no, I repped them when they were 9 years old. Like they want nothing to do. Every time I purchase a new property and I'm like, guess what? We got a new property. And they're like, because sadly, I've worked them too hard and they just have a lot of negative associations with these properties. And they just think, oh gosh, it's so much work. It's so hard. I hate it. I don't want to do it. So please, please don't do that to your own children. And also don't do that to your spouse. I've heard a lot of, I'm single, but I've heard a lot of spouses that just are I'm done with you. This almost ruined our marriage. Like this was so much work. And so I really caution not to put too much pressure on your person that you love dearly, that you've chosen to spend your whole life with. Like, please don't let this one vacation property ruin all of that. Like, hire help. Just manage the scope of work, understand what you're doing before you go in so that when everything gets stressful, you don't start pointing the finger at the one you love the most.
I totally agree with that. In fact, my husband, God love him, we're married 30 years this year. And I have learned over time that there are some things we do together and some things we don't do together. And we never paint together. We never wallpaper together. I learned, I think when we staged, I want to say our third or our fourth property, and I was having him like hang things on the walls, and he was just grumpier than grumpy. You know what I mean? I always tease him now. It's like the Grinch comes out, when I have him do household work. Why? Because that's not his genius zone. Like my husband is so wicked smart, but when it comes to manual labor, it's not his cup of tea and it's not his genius zone. And so from that point forward, I was like, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to hire it always,
Right.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And in the same way, you wouldn't want him to put you in like wherever you flounder the most. Right. You're so uncomfortable. You hate it. You don't want to be there. And it's really hard to have a positive attitude. So yeah, let's not do that to each other.
Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Girlfriend, I want to move to the lightning round. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to answer these questions with the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh, that's a scary thing, Stacey. My brain is wired different.
First one will be easy. Where is your favorite place to vacation?
Destin, Florida.
And you own a property there, correct?
I do. Yes.
Amazing. It's so beautiful.
So beautiful.
So beautiful. So fun. That was the first time I have a story about Destin. I was just talking about my husband, so I feel like I have to tell this story. Okay. So when we went to Destin, it was actually, I think back in 2020 or 2019, one of the two. And it was just beautiful, beautiful morning. We are out on the beach and we decide to get in the water. And my husband loves to float in like floaty seats. Like he buys these floaty seats for our pool at home and he brought one to the beach. And I had stayed back to like put sunscreen on or something like that. And he's out in the water with his drink. And I start to walk out and I'm about knee deep. And I was like, he's probably, 20 feet away from me. And I said, "Oh, Chad, there's a shark right there." And he was like, yeah. Come on in the water, honey. And I'm like, no, really? Like there's a shark. And it's right in front of you.
No.
I have never seen the man move so fast in all of my life. It could have been a really scary situation, but we laugh about it so hard. Like it was Speedy Gonzalez getting up out of that seat and getting out of the water.
I can picture someone with a drink and a floaty seat and all of a sudden.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Destin, Florida is your favorite place to vacate. What's one place you've never been that you want to visit?
Oh boy. I feel like I was just talking about this. Let's go big because this is the top of my bucket list. One place I would like to visit is Bali, and I want to stay in an overwater bungalow and just live my best life. So
girl. Oh yeah.
Yep.
If you go, I will stay with you.
I was hoping for maybe the man of my dreams, but what? We'll have a great time.
I would not be that. Okay. Next question. What's one thing you know now that you wished you knew when you were starting out in the world of short-term rentals?
One thing I know now is that design matters more than ever. Design, amenities. And when I started so long ago, I mean, it was, I think 8 years now, with a room in my home as a shared listing, I started with an air mattress on the floor in that room. So I'm like an OG Airbnb bootstrapped person. And a lot of people, I think that they can just like grab some furniture and just kind of put it together as long as all of the elements are there. But it's a competitive landscape now, and we are not the same as we were back then. And I think that to really maximize all of the work that you're putting in anyway, with every single guest check-in and all of the platform stuff and all of the tech, you just need the amenities and the decor to go with that to really make it worth your time. Yep. So, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And maximizing your investment, right? Maximizing your return.
Right.
Okay, cool. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Oh, start. Just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you are sitting on the sidelines trying to make the perfect whatever, trying to do or be the perfect whatever and never get in the game, you don't get the chance to like, honestly, fall on your face and go, oh, that didn't work, but now I know what will. And you just get closer, you got to get in the game. And start.
Great advice. And last question, what's one thing and or person that you're grateful for today?
Thing and person. I think of my family, honestly. My 2 kids and my 3 sisters have absolutely been invaluable. In fact, I have my own home rented out, so I'm sitting in my sister's spare bedroom right now. So she's adopted me. And my family has always been there for me. And my sons, I'm just like over the moon about always. So yeah, be those 5 people. And things, I'm not like a thing person as much. So I would go with those 5 people.
Well, girlfriend, you just won a 3-carat diamond. So you might need to become a thing person.
I mean, that's very exciting. I'm not going to lie.
So for anyone listening, Kim is actually coming to the Live Big Beach Retreat, and we're giving away diamonds at the retreat. And you know what? I decided, let's just give away an extra one. And so I gave away a diamond, had a drawing this morning, and Kim was the winner.
I'm elated. It was so fun. My pod, because I'm in your program, my pod I've been talking to them because you know what? I accidentally double booked myself. So I'm missing my pod group meeting today to talk to you. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, what have I done? And my consequence is to compliment them. That I have self-inflicted. I give 2 compliments to everyone in my pod when I miss a meeting. And anyway, shout out to my pod who alerted me that I had won the diamond because I was on a Zoom call earlier. And they are just the greatest, most supportive, and I absolutely love them. And I'm very excited to come up with an idea of what to do with the diamond.
I know, girl. You can't really do earrings because you'd need a second 3-carat diamond, but you could do a necklace or a ring or, all kinds of fun stuff. If you need ideas, I will come with ideas because Mama likes some jewelry. Okay. I love jewelry.
I love some jewelry too. 3-carat diamond is far beyond anything I've ever decided to play with. But now, you gotta live big. You gotta dream big or be big, right?
That's right. You mentioned your pod, and you are in an amazing pod. All of our pods are incredible. But I do want to ask you, what has it meant to you to have a community of women specifically around you? How is that different for you? And what do you feel like the biggest results have been for you personally?
Well, I never bash men because I would like to have one day. Yeah. And I have two amazing sons that are men, and I'm not one to bash men, but there is something about having a group of women, the energy, the support, the encouragement it is everything. And sometimes you just need to know that what you're going through, like sometimes I think I get a little more emotional or I'm a little more of a roller coaster than maybe some of my male counterparts who seem very even keel. And I don't want to say to a man, today is too hard. Right. I just want to cry. I don't I'm not saying that to like a dude. I'm going to be like, I'll get back to you tomorrow.
Let me step outside for a moment.
Yes. I'm going to take a minute. But with the women, I feel like we can just be more open and more vulnerable and be like, this is actually really hard. I'm struggling. And to know that people are there to lift you up. And there is, I don't know, there's just a vibe, and it's been really, really awesome. So,
yeah. I couldn't agree more. And I always share this with people because people will ask me, like, why women? Like, why? And for me, I do business with men all the time. To your point, like, I've been married to a man for 30 years. I have two boys. I've been surrounded by men my whole life. There is something almost intangible about having like-minded women together. It's almost like 1 + 1 = 3. And you can magnify the I don't want to say results like we're all results driven, but magnify what you truly get from your support group because everyone understands you as a person, not just your business, right?
Totally. I mean, I'm not money driven. I have a hard time. Like, numbers aren't my thing. People are my thing. And I love supporting, encouraging, uplifting people. I actually, like you, surrounded by men. I play basketball in a men's league. I am the one person that makes it co-ed. So when I'm not there, it goes back to a men's league, and it's a different vibe. I love those guys. They're like my family, but it's very different. My basketball friends versus my like women's pod through your group, and it's a lot deeper. It's a lot more connected, and it is definitely. There is a trajectory forward that doesn't always have to do with occupancy and nightly rate and, all of that. But it's just that feeling of like, how do we word that message? And how do I make my guests feel like we value them when they are maybe feeling like they're having a terrible time because of some circumstance?
Right. Totally. I didn't know you played basketball. That's fun.
It is my heart and soul. Yeah, I love it.
Really? I would be your cheerleader. You would not want me to be on the court with you, but I would be like on the side, like doing a cute little cheer. Oh yeah, girl.
I believe you, Stacy. You would not want me in a little skirt, but I can rough it up on the court pretty well.
You probably don't want me in a skirt either. Okay. Maybe like 40 years ago. Okay.
Yes, I am much better at getting in the thick of things than I am on the side.
So fun. Okay, so Kim, if folks are listening and they want to learn more about you, learn more about Launched Host and how you might be able to support them, what is the best way for them to find you online?
I would say most people find me through Facebook and they send a message on Messenger. Sometimes I don't see them for a while if we haven't been friends. So if they friend request me, I'll probably find that better, quicker. So I'm just Kim Fitzpatrick, and you'll see me, you'll get it. I actually think my background is playing basketball. I can't remember now, but this face just looks for it. But then on Instagram, I'm there as Launched Host, and you'll still see my face, but that is my tag is Launched Host on Instagram. I'm more active on Facebook and then Instagram, and then there's this thing called LinkedIn I'm trying to figure out, but Lord help me, it's a little bit of a struggle.
I mean, all the platforms have their own kind of unique spins to them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't even tried TikTok. I'm like, I feel like my kids really need to give me a lesson on that.
I do need some teenager, 13-year-old to, guide me in that direction.
Yeah. This has been so fun. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, and thank you for my diamond.
You're welcome, girl. Now, before you go, I want to give a quick shout out to all of the amazing women inside the Female Short-Term Rental Investors Facebook group, a community of over 60,000 women where we eat, sleep, breathe, and talk short-term rentals each and every day. Just a few days ago, Maria Lottie posted, "Hello, friends. How do you make your short-term rentals smell really nice? It's a beach property." And we've had so far 185 women jump in and share their feedback. Michaela Maestas posted a comment and she says, "Lemon or orange essential oils. I rub it into things like wood trim or doorways and sprinkle it into corners." Shelley Schultz also advises against using any air fresheners or diffusers, as those can be sensitive to people with allergies. Now, Megan Chasness also chimed in, vowing for the essential oil approach. She says, "I also use these and mint, as our home is on a lake, and the oils help keep spiders, ants, and mice at bay." So who knew you could keep the critters out and your property smelling beautiful? All right, friends, that wraps up this episode. I hope you found it helpful. And as always, I just want to thank you for being a valued member of my community, and have an amazing, amazing day.